If you wake up exhausted no matter how many hours you sleep, if you crash every afternoon, if you feel like your body never actually recovers overnight, it's not necessarily your age, it's not necessarily your stress. There are 5 different things you're doing every single night that are actively destroying your sleep quality. Your mattress, your phone, the way you breathe, when you shower, and what you eat before bed, those are the 5 things. So stick with me through all of them because I promise at least one of these things is happening to you right now and you have no idea it's even happening in the first place. As a small disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I figured this out because I had to. I was waking up exhausted, I needed naps in the middle of the day just to function, and I've never been a coffee drinker, so I couldn't just cover it up. I had to actually figure out what was going on, and when I started digging into the research, what I found changed a lot of things for me. So everything I'm about to tell you is backed by peer-reviewed studies, and I'll name them as we go. Most mattresses in America are made of polyurethane foam or memory foam. These are petroleum-based materials, and because polyurethane foam is extremely flammable, manufacturers treated them with chemical flame retardants just to pass fire safety regulations. The original flame retardants they used were called PBDEs, and those got banned after researchers found them in human breast milk. The replacements they switched to have never been proven safe either. They've been linked to hormone disruption and reproductive issues. And here's the part that really got me when I looked into it. One memory foam mattress that was sent to a lab for testing released 61 different volatile organic compounds. That's 61 chemicals from one mattress. That's absolutely insane. Firefighters call polyurethane foam solid gasoline because of how flammable it is, and that is what a huge chunk of the population is sleeping on because people never even bother to think of these things. Your body heat makes it worse. The warmer you get under the covers, the more those chemicals release. 8 hours a night, 365 nights a year, that's almost 3,000 hours a year breathing in whatever your mattress is releasing in a closed room with you face down. So what do? If your budget allows, get an organic latex mattress. Look for GOTS or GOLS certification. Those specifically ban flame retardants and polyurethane. And if you can't fully swing a mattress right now, which I totally understand because of how expensive everything is right now, an organic mattress topper is the cheapest meaningful upgrade. And while you're at it, get an organic pillow with organic cotton covers. Your face is closer to your pillow than anything else in your room. I also run an Air Doctor 3500 in the bedroom. That thing runs all night long. It filters out VOCs, dust particles, mold spores, whatever's in the air. So if you're not ready to replace your mattress or get any of those things, at a minimum, you need to clean the air you're breathing in while you sleep. There's always another layer to this. Even some organic mattresses use glue between the layers that can still off-gas. So just know that nothing is perfectly clean, you're just reducing the overall load. So you're going from 61 chemicals close to 0, and that's a really big difference, and your body will definitely be able to tell the difference. Okay, so that's your mattress. Now I know this next one sounds obvious, but stay with me because the actual science behind it is what changed how seriously I take this. Your eyes have specific receptors that respond to blue light, and when those receptors get hit at night, they send a signal to your brain saying it's still daytime. Your brain responds by suppressing melatonin, which is the hormone you need to fall asleep and stay in deep sleep. A study published in PLOS ONE found that using screens for just 2 hours before bed reduced melatonin by 38%. That's almost 40% less of the hormone you need to sleep just from your phone. And melatonin isn't just a sleep hormone, it's one of the most powerful antioxidants your body produces. When you suppress it, you're not just losing sleep, you're losing a critical repair window that only works in the dark. Now you might be thinking, I use night mode so I'm fine. Night mode does help, but it doesn't fix the problem. And those cheap red light glasses on Amazon are made with different materials. They don't block nearly as much blue light as they claim. I use True Dark Twilights. I'm gonna be real with you, they make me kind of look like Ant-Man, but they work so well that I don't care. And within an hour of putting them on, I can physically feel my body getting tired. That's not a placebo, that's my melatonin actually being allowed to do its job. I also wear this bad boy right here. It's a Mantis sleep mask. Between the glasses before bed and the mask while I sleep, my melatonin isn't getting suppressed from either direction. This next one is something a lot of people are doing without even realizing they're doing it. If you wake up with a dry mouth, you're mouth breathing. If you snore, you're mouth breathing. If your partner tells you that you snore, you're mouth breathing. Mouth breathing disrupts the oxygen and CO2 exchange in your lungs. It lowers your blood oxygen and it activates your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight. So your body is running a low-grade stress response all night instead of being in recovery mode where deep sleep actually happens. A study published in the Laryngoscope found that mouth breathers had apnea scores nearly double that of nose breathers, 52 events per hour versus 27. Over half of people identify as mouth breathers. In kids, it's even worse. Chronic mouth breathing has been shown to change your facial structure, affect your jaw development, and even get misdiagnosed as ADHD because of the behavioral effects from poor sleep. Now, if this applies to you, the simple fix is mouth tape. You put a small strip of skin-safe tape across your lips and it keeps your mouth closed so you breathe through your nose. I used mouth tape for about a year straight, and then when I stopped, my body had kind of adjusted to sleeping with my mouth closed, so I don't use it anymore. But that year of using it retrained that habit. If your nose is chronically congested, you need to address that first. Go to an ENT or try a saline rinse, but don't just tape your mouth shut if you can't breathe through your nose. Now, this next one surprised me the most when I learned about it. Taking a hot shower right before bed feels relaxing, I get it, but it's actually working directly against your biology. Your body needs to drop its core temperature by about 2 to 3 degrees to initiate deep sleep. That temperature drop is one of the signals your brain uses to trigger melatonin release and move you into deeper stages of sleep. And a hot shower raises your core temperature, so if you shower hot and climb directly into bed, your body spends the first 30 to 60 minutes trying to cool back down instead of dropping into deep sleep. So the fix is simple and it's free. Shower 60 to 90 minutes before bed instead of right before. Or end your shower with 30 seconds of cold water, which accelerates the cooling. And one more thing on the shower. A lot of people don't think what's in the water they're showering in. Your tap water has chloramine in it, which vaporizes in a hot shower, and you inhale that directly into your lung tissue. There's no liver filtration, just straight into your bloodstream. You need to get a shower filter that filters this garbage out of the tap water. I personally use organic Jaguar shower filter. If you want the full breakdown on how to clean up your sleep environment step by step with the exact products and routines I use, I'll be launching a community for exactly that. Link is down in the description. If you made it this far, this last one is the one that changed everything for me, and honestly, it's probably the reason why I made this video in the first place, come to think of it. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. About 3 years ago, when I was actively destroying my kingdom and eating ultra-processed food, I went to Texas for my friend's wedding and I was gonna be in the wedding. The night before the wedding, I had a huge meal from Whataburger. I went to bed feeling fine, full stomach. It tasted amazing at the time. It was perfect. I woke up at 3 a.m. feeling like I was going to die. My heart was pounding. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was having a full-blown panic attack because I'm prone to getting panic attacks. I genuinely thought something was wrong with me and I wasn't gonna be able to make it to the wedding. It turns out that nothing was wrong with me. My blood sugar crashed. And when you eat a high-carb meal or a big sugary meal before bed, your blood sugar spikes. Your body releases insulin to bring it down, but insulin can overcorrect and your blood sugar drops too low in the middle of the night. So when your blood sugar drops to about 70 milligrams per deciliter, your body treats it as a survival threat. It releases adrenaline and cortisol to bring your blood sugar back up. Adrenaline is your fight or flight hormone. That is why sometimes you might be waking up at 3 a.m. with your heart pounding, your mind racing. You might not necessarily be having a panic attack, you might not be anxious. Your blood sugar might have crashed and your body went into emergency mode just to save you. A lot of people think the fix for bad sleep is melatonin supplements. It's not. If your blood sugar is crashing at 3 a.m., there is no supplement that you can buy that's going to override an adrenaline surge. You have to fix what's causing the crash. A study published in the PLOS Medicine found that when researchers induced low blood sugar during sleep, adrenaline surged on average 7.5 minutes before the person even showed signs of waking up. Your body is literally hitting the panic button while you're still asleep, and insulin sensitivity is at its highest between 2 and 4 a.m., which is exactly when these crashes happen. The fix: stop eating 2 or 3 hours before bed. If I do have something kind of late, it's gonna be Greek yogurt and blueberries. Protein, fat, natural sugar, no processed candy, no ultra processed junk food, just something that gives your body sustained fuel so it doesn't crash at 3 a.m. Since I stopped eating about 2 or 3 hours before bed, I use that time to take 480 milligrams of magnesium glycinate and 100 milligrams of phosphatide soft gels. People also call this PS. I call it PS because it's easier to remember. What PS actually does is it blunts your cortisol so your body isn't running stress hormones while you're trying to sleep. And the magnesium supports GABA, which calms the nervous system. It also refuels your magnesium stores, which is huge if you're someone that deals with anxiety just like I do. If I had to pick one thing from this entire list that would make the biggest difference, it's this. Get yourself a real pair of red light blocking glasses, turn night shift on your phone, and turn the brightness down. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you to put your phone down before bed because I don't do that either, but protecting your eyes from blue light while you use it makes a massive difference. That one change alone made my sleep noticeably better before I did anything else on this list. Tell me down in the comments which one of these 5 surprised you the most. I really wanna know what you guys think. Your body was designed to recover every single night, so it's not broken. It's not because you're getting older. It's because you're being sabotaged by those 5 things you never even thought to question. Fix the environment you sleep in and your body will remember how to do its job correctly. It already knows, you just have to stop getting in the way. And on that note, keep restoring your kingdoms. I'll catch you on the next one.